The State Liquor and Cannabis Board tells us 377 businesses have discontinued their licenses for vaping products since Washington's temporary ban went into effect in early October. About half are stores like Rite Aid and Bartles, but the other half are smaller businesses that have closed up shop. That's because flavored vape products were such a big part of their inventory. Matt Bradley owns Sky Vapor in Everett. He's also featured on the Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch. Matt says he's hoping the governor will lift the ban in February. He's already closed one of his 3 shops and says unless Governor Inslee lifts the ban in February, his other 2 stores will close down too.
I hope that Inslee lifts the ban and we go back to business as usual. And he sees that this ploy was useless. But if he doesn't lift the ban, they got what they wanted. They picked us all off.
We reached out to the governor's office for comment, but have not heard back. The Department of Health says the rule is necessary because it's a public health emergency.